NMH at 1 highlights the news making waves ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports, and economic news. Here are the headlines. Human trafficking disrespectful to the values upheld by Namibia, says Nampol Chief Inspector. Etosha Fishing resumes operations. India aims to send astronaut to the moon by 2040. I am Glenn Rashipura, and this is NMH at 1. In our midday news update, India aims to send an astronaut to the moon by 2040. The government has said the country's space goals also include plans for a space station by 2035. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced these ambitions on Tuesday and also asked scientists to work on missions to Venus and Mars. In August, India became the first country to land a spacecraft on the moon's south pole, and in September it launched a rocket to study the sun. The Indian Space Research Organization is also working on the Gaganyaan project, which aims to send a human crew to an orbit of 400 kilometers and bring them back safely to land in Indian waters. On Saturday, the space agency will conduct a key test in the mission. Visual News highlights local stories from across Namibia. Right after the break, we get into that. Stay with NMH at 1.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraika. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Getting into our visual news, Lieutenant General Inspector Joseph Shikongo this morning opened a 3-day workshop to combat human trafficking and the smuggling of migrants. During the occasion, Shikongo said the act of human trafficking is a direct disrespect to the values upheld by Namibia. The subject we are gathered here to address is not merely an academic or theoretical concern. It is a pressing global challenge that demands our collective attention, empathy, and action, he said. Elizabeth Cabus was there.
Let me of my profound responsibility that I stand before you here today to officiate this important training course on the critical issues of trafficking in persons and the smuggling of migrants. Let me use this opportunity to extend a warm welcome to all our participants, esteemed guests, and experts who have joined us for this crucial endeavor. The subject we are gathered here today to address is not merely an academic or theoretical concern. It is a pressing global challenge that demands our collective attention, empathy, and action. Trafficking in persons and smuggling of migrants represent one of the darkest aspects of war today. These crimes are a disrespect to the values and that we hold so dearly, such as freedom, dignity, and the inherent worth of every individual person. They exploit the vulnerable of our fellow human beings, and they undermine the principle of equality, justice, and human rights.
Moving on, Namibian Sun leads us into the newspaper review segment on the other side of this.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Let's take a look at today's daily newspapers, starting off with the Namibian Sun's front page. Academic Job Amupanda has dragged his employer, the University of Namibia, to labor court, citing discrimination and unfair labor practices. Amupanda claims he has been subjected to workplace harassment at the hands of his employer and that attempts to report the matter to the university's management have fallen on deaf ears. In August, Amupanda lodged a complaint with UNAM Council Chair Dr. David Wirap, claiming that while the grievances of other university employees are addressed promptly, little to no action has allegedly been taken to address workplace grievances affecting him. Now moving on to the Namibian Sun's page 4, the government has been told to leave the business environment to the private sector with minimal political interference and let economic market forces prevail. This is the position of the Forum for German-Speaking Namibians, who feel government should instead pivot its attention towards the provision of regulatory frameworks and ensure the maintenance of social and economic peace. The Republican zooms in on Elsa Martin, flying Namibia's first female captain. She worked as a navigation officer until the age of 30 before moving to Namibia in 2007. She then worked as a pilot for Wilderness Air before flying for Desert Air and finally between 2012 and 2021 for Air Namibia. I don't think your gender or skin color matters. If you have a passion for flying, nothing will stop you from flying. It will be nice to see some girls in the industry, she says. Moving on to Republicans, page 3. According to some forecasters, green hydrogen could potentially be the panacea for Namibia and South Africa's socio-economic challenges. This perhaps explains the race for this renewable energy source, which has brought about a boom in development in the Southern African Development Community, and with it, numerous promises and hopes for the future. Moving on to the Allgemeine Zeitung's front page, Namibians can barely make ends meet, reports the Allgemeine Zeitung, adding that more and more Namibians are finding themselves in enormous financial difficulties. Several studies come to this conclusion. The necessities of life are becoming more and more expensive, and the income situation is becoming more problematic. On its page 3, the paper reports that after the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism announced in a press release that the desert lion Mwezi was allegedly considered a problem animal and was subsequently shot as a trophy, the Desert Lion Protection Organization, Desert Lions Human Relations Aid, is now speaking up. After the break, we continue with more newspaper review.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Still with our newspaper review, the Namibian's front page reports that the cabinet has approved a plan to buy 32 government vehicles worth $25 million for the 2023-2024 financial year, despite a moratorium put in place by President Hage Geingob in 2020 to stop unnecessary expenditure on cars. In total, the government will spend $180 million on vehicles in the long term, according to budget books. This represents an increase of $150.3 million from last year's $29.7 million. Onto the Namibian's page 3, lawmaker Ina Hengari has labeled Namibia's detention and correctional facilities a health hazard to inmates with severe overcrowding, particularly at the Ohangwena police station, among others. Hengari in the parliament on Tuesday joined calls from the Office of the Ombudsman to reform the country's holding and jail cells, including the Windhoek Correctional Facility. Ohangwena police station has a capacity of 30, but 143 inmates were found in custody, Hengari told National Assembly. Moving on to the New Era's front page, the Arandes, Omaruru and Usakos town councils are under pressure as residents of the three towns are grabbing land. This is because they feel their respective councils failed them when it comes to the provision of land. On Saturday, close to 50 Omaruru residents grabbed land close to the Velvicha location after efforts to engage the municipality proved fruitless. Residents said they fall under the Omaruru Homeless People's Association and have not been able to get land to build homes. Group chairperson Nambe Domingo told New Era that despite being born and raised in Omaruru, they have lived in their parents' homes for over 40 years, while the municipality allocates land to employees and their relatives who are not from the area. Moving on, the lawyers of 10 Chinese nationals, 1 Ugandan, 1 Cuban, 1 Angolan, and 1 Namibian on Thursday claimed their clients are being detained unlawfully. Susan Namanje, who appeared on behalf of 10 of the accused on instructions from Gilray Kaspa from MKK, as well as Kadila Amomo, who appeared for Namibian Manda Malodi Domingo, said they want to bring an inquiry into the time frame of the arrest and the subsequent first court appearance. Moving over to Market Watch, a total of 160 building plans were approved by the city of Windhoek in September, 11 fewer than the 181 approved in August, according to IJG Securities. In financial terms, the approvals were valued at $129.6 million Namibian, making a 94.9% month-on-month increase from August's low base of $66.5 million Namibian. Now, year-to-date, approvals have been granted for 1,450 building plans with a total value of $1.04 billion Namibian. This represents a 23.8% reduction in the number of approvals compared to the same period in the previous year and a 26.8% decrease in terms of their overall value. Etosha Fishing has announced that its cannery will resume operations on the 30th of October to process the horse mackerel relief quota allocated by the Fisheries Ministry in June this year. More on this as we get into economic news after this.
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Getting into our economic news, Etosha Fishing has announced that its cannery will resume operations on the 30th of October to process the horse mackerel relief quota allocated by the Fisheries Ministry in June this year. The intended purpose of the quota allocation, as approved by Cabinet, is to sustain employment at the company in the short term. The company explained that operations are only commencing in October as Etosha Fishing had to first secure catch capacity, after which the horse mackerel quota could be landed for processing. Etosha Fishing expressed its gratitude to government and the Fisheries Ministry, in particular Minister Derek Claassen, for the intervention to prevent the company from closing. The company also thanked the Namibia Seamen and Allied Workers Union and the company's employees for their patience and resilience amid trying times. Let's take a look at our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.19, against the euro at 20.25. $2 Namibian and 61 cents gets you 1 Chinese yuan. On the Namibia Stock Exchange, all major commodities remained the same. Overall index closed at 2.22%, going down. On the commodities market, gold went up while copper, platinum and Brent crude oil went down. Brent crude oil trading at 0.13%, going for $91 and 87 cents per barrel.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Let's get into our news from across Africa. Fighting has again erupted in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo between pro-government forces and rebels from the M23 group. Residents say the rebels have occupied the town of Kichanga in North Kivu province since Saturday. Several people have been taken to hospital with gunshot wounds, a local radio station reported. The rebels are in Kichanga and we are trying to find a way to retake the town, a security source told AFP news agency. The area has changed hands several times since the beginning of the year. Fighting resumed 3 weeks ago after a 6-month truce. The area was previously patrolled by an international force provided by Congo's neighbors. In our next story, Kenyan police have released 3 people who were arrested for participating in a pro-Palestine meeting in the capital, Nairobi. The 3 were freed on Sunday without charges after widespread criticism from some Kenyans, politicians and human rights groups. They said they were holding a solidarity meeting. Kenyan MP Yusuf Hassan condemned the arrest. The head of Amnesty International in Kenya, Irungu Houghton, said that the disruption of the meeting was unlawful and deeply disturbing. It had been organized by the Kenya Palestinian Solidarity Committee after police stopped an earlier demonstration that the group had planned outside the U.S. Embassy. President William Ruto has expressed his government's full support for Israel in the ongoing conflict. After this short break, we get into your international news.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Getting into our international news, India will resume issuing visas to Canadian citizens if it sees progress on the safety of its diplomats. there. Foreign Minister Jaishankar has said that India had stopped visa services in September, saying that security threats were disrupting work at its missions in Canada. The two countries are in the midst of a row over the murder of a Sikh separatist leader in Canada. Ottawa has said earlier that it takes safety of diplomats very seriously, but it has not responded to India's specific allegations about threats to its diplomats in Canada. Ties between the countries plummeted after Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said in September that his country was investigating credible allegations potentially linking the Indian state to a Sikh leader killing. India strongly rejected the allegations, calling them absurd. Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a Canadian citizen, was shot dead in his vehicles by two masked gunmen outside a Sikh temple in British Columbia in June. Nijjar was a vocal advocate for Khalistan, or a separate Sikh homeland, a sensitive subject in India, which witnessed a violent insurgency over the demand in the 1980s. Even before tensions escalated, India had raised concerns about the safety of its officials in Canada, citing threats to them from Khalistan supporters. After this short break, we get into your local sports news. To stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Let's get into our sporting news on the local front. Namibia's senior women's national side, the Brave Gladiators, will face World Cup debutants Morocco on Thursday in the Olympic qualifiers' second leg. Coached by Paulus Shipanga, the Namibians have had a competitive month playing against Equatorial Guinea, whom they beat in both first leg encounters. Cyclist Vera Lusa announced the end of her competitive year for the weekend after participating in the two-person Wines to Wales event in the Western Cape. She made the announcement on her social media account. After stage one, Loser and Mariska Strauss held the 5th position. By the end of day 2 on Saturday, the duo had advanced to 4th place in the standings. However, due to an injury sustained by the Namibian, they were forced to withdraw. After this short break, we get into your international sports news. Mercedes accepted their punishment after Formula One stewards disqualified Lewis Hamilton from second place in Sunday's U.S. Grand Prix, along with 6th place Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc. The governing FIA had reported both drivers to stewards after their cars failed post-race checks on the underfloor wooden planks at Austin Circuit of the Americas. Now, stewards imposed the standard penalty after both teams acknowledged the measurements carried out by the FIA were correct. Mercedes had stated that the high wear on the skid pads was probably due to the bumpy track and the race being run to a sprint format for the first time. Now, the Springboks will face their biggest rivals, New Zealand All Blacks, in the 2023 Rugby World Cup final in Paris next Saturday, with kickoff at 9 p.m. In a dramatic semi-final in Paris on Saturday night, the 2019 winners, the Boks, edged England 16-15 thanks to a late converted try by R.G. Snyman and a 77th minute 50-meter penalty by Andre Pollard. Swelling the celebrations are allegations of verbal abuse against South Africa hooker Bongi Bonambi, being investigated by his own camp after he allegedly swore at England flanker Tom Curry during Saturday's Rugby World Cup semi-final in Paris. Audio and video footage posted on social media show Curry complaining to referee Ben Okafi in the first half. Although no action was taken, Curry confirmed an incident when questioned by reporters afterwards. but refused to say what had allegedly been said. Now moving on, Ben Shelton won his first ATP Tour title on Sunday, defeating Russian Aslan Karatsev 7-5, 6-1 at the Japan Open in Tokyo. The 21-year-old Shelton needed just 84 minutes to dispatch Karatsev at the ATP 500 event. Shelton will reach a career high number 15 when the new rankings are released on Monday. He is the sixth player to win his first ATP title this season. Along the way, the left-handed Shelton hit 18 winners, won 80% of the points on his first serve, and converted 4 of 6 break chances. After the break, we get into the news highlights. Do stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraika. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
You're still watching NMH at 1, and if you've just joined us, here are the news highlights. Fighting has again erupted in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo between pro-government forces and rebels from the M23 group. India will resume issuing visas to Canadian citizens if it sees progress in the safety of its diplomats there, Foreign Minister Jaishankar has said. Namibia's senior women's national side, the Brave Gladiators, will face World Cup debutants Morocco on Thursday in the Olympic qualifiers' second leg. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia and beyond. From me, Glenora Shipura, until next time.